Hello yogis and welcome to day 6. You won't need a lot of props today. If you want to get a nice thick folded towel or blanket, maybe shaped like this rectangle, then that might be helpful if you know that you're tight in your low back. We're going to be spending a fair amount of time on our bellies. But to start, we are going to sit on our shins. So if you want to use that folded towel or blanket or a block to sit up a little bit higher, if you feel tight in your quads and in your knees, then go ahead and get that now. Making sure the tops of your feet are long, your toes are pointing back, finding that length in the spine now. So rather than setting a specific intention for today's practice, I invite you to think about how open you are in your life. Are there any areas that you're closed off? Is there any way you can be more open, whether that's in your body, in your intention, in your relation with others? And just thinking about what areas you might be a little bit closed off in and how you can open up to be more expansive, to be more receptive to the world and to the love of others around you. Go ahead and consider that now. Today's practice is about opening the heart. In a literal sense, it's about back bends. And to get a back bend in yoga, you have to open the heart, open in at the chest, the thoracic spine, which is the mid and upper back. Because if we don't open our heart, if we don't open our chest, then our back bend will come from our lower back or our neck, and that can lead to some injuries and discomfort there. So really think about opening at the chest, being big and expansive as we go ahead and bring the arms back. Maybe even pulling the fingertips to the back of the room. Inhaling here as we squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhaling, pulling the arms to the front of the room and then crossing at the arms to give yourself a big hug as you pull the shoulder blades apart, rounding through the upper back. Inhale, open the arms wide, open the chest. Exhale, try to cross the other arm on top as you give yourself a hug and round back. Inhale, open up. Start to relate this shape, this change in shape of the spine to your cat-cow pose. So feeling how as you hug yourself and round the upper back, this is like the cat pose. And as we open up and inhale, it's like the cow pose. And go ahead and let that rest. Inhale, circle sweep the arms up to touch overhead. And exhale, bend at the elbows to 90 degrees and pull the elbows back. Pull the chest through. Squeezing the shoulder blades together, fingers pointing up to the sky with palms facing forward. This is our half angel wings. Really activating those muscles in the upper back and the shoulder blade in order to open the chest. Inhale. Exhale. Try to meet the hands behind your back. See if you can interlace fingers here. If this is feeling very tight, you can grab onto a strap or a towel and simply pull down on that strap, trying to squeeze the shoulder blades together. If you are able to interlace the fingers, go ahead and pull the shoulders away from the ears, squeeze the shoulder blades together and open the heart. Exhale, release. And go ahead and stand up tall on your knees. If you need padding under your knees, go ahead and put that here. Inhale, circle sweep the arms up to touch. Exhale, half angel wings, pulling the elbows back, trying to squeeze the shoulder blades together, as if you could get the elbows to touch each other behind your back. Inhale, exhale, let the hands meet behind the back, pulling the shoulders away from the ears. If this is uncomfortable on the shoulders, or if you just can't reach your hands, that's totally okay. Instead, just try to reach your arms actively down, trying to reach the fingertips towards the floor and a little bit towards the midline. if you are able to join hands and just keep pulling your fist towards the ground. And then we're gonna fold forward. Hands can stay together or not, finding our way into a child's pose with our hands back towards our feet. Move the block or the padding out of the way if it's there now. And we're gonna start to crawl our hands forward and find our way towards our hands and knees. Taking just a couple of cat-cows here, just to relate in our body this cat-cow shape to the shapes that we were just making in a sitting position. Inhaling, looking forward, letting the spine drop down. Exhaling, pushing the ground away. Inhaling, opening up the heart, pulling the chest through. Exhale, rounding. And go ahead and stretch the right foot back and ground the right foot as you rotate the left shin out, making our way towards our side plank with our right arm reaching up to the sky, grounding through the outside edge of the right foot. Feeling how this is opening your heart as well. This is a back bend in itself. We're trying to lift the chest to face up towards the ceiling. If this is bothering the neck, then just keep the gaze forward rather than turning your neck up towards the ceiling. Pressing the hips slightly forward, as if there's a wall right in front of your left thigh and you're trying to press your pelvis a little closer to that wall. Inhale. Exhale, lower back down to hands and knees. Extend the left leg long. Rotate the right shin out and reach the left fingertips up to the sky, finding length here. Reaching actively up, maybe continuing the turn to open the chest up towards the ceiling. Inhale and exhale, lower back down. And we're gonna start to walk the hands forward into our puppy pose. Extending the arms long, maybe your chest reaches the mat before your head. And if not, just go ahead and let the forehead rest down. You might have to adjust the position of your knees. Feeling how this is a gentle back bend in itself. You're extending the spine, you're trying to pull the chest through. So now we're gonna pull ourselves through to a Sphinx pose. So this is a good place whenever we're on our belly. If you feel really tight in your lower back, taking this folded towel and putting it right under your hips, your very low abdomen. And that just gives you a little bit of extra space to move. So holding your Sphinx pose, pressing the tops of your feet and your pelvis, a gentle tuck of the tailbone into the mat. Now stay in Sphinx or rotate both arms a little bit out to the sides. And maybe practice pressing up so you're on your hands, pulling your shoulders away from your ears, pulling your chest through, seal pose. And feeling free to just stay in Sphinx or any other back bend that feels good to you. To intensify this stretch, you would walk your hands closer to the middle and closer to you. And to make it more easeful, you can walk your hands a little farther apart and farther away from you. Finding your breath here. With your next exhale, you can lower down. And we're gonna slide our hands so our hands are just under our shoulders, maybe even a little bit closer to the back of the mat. We're gonna roll our shoulders up and back and pull our chest through into Cobra pose. So really squeezing the shoulder blades together, just like we did when we were trying to clasp our hands behind our back. Using the strength of our back to hold ourselves up. Maybe get a little lighter through the hands, using that back strength instead of your arm strength. And I'm gonna move this blanket out of the way because it's not helping me so much. And from this Cobra pose, maybe you continue to get light under the hands and maybe even lift the hands up and reach for the back of the room, lifting up. if you are able to clasp your hands here, you can use that leverage to lift your chest even higher, maybe lifting up your legs into a full locust pose. If that's not working for you, then just actively reach the hands back. You don't have to lift the legs. Or keep the hands on the ground for a little bit of extra support. Inhale and exhale, lower back down. We're going to start to tuck the toes, push our hips back, and then push our hips up and back into a down dog. Trying to get that same message here in our down dog of having a long spine, of opening our hearts. So we're not crunching up our backs, but we're keeping them nice and long. Keeping the knees nice and bent, if that feels good. Maybe pedaling the feet one at a time. Eventually finding some stillness. We're going to inhale and reach that right leg up and back. And then we're going to turn and open up the right hip. So we're bending the knee. Chest is still pointing relatively towards the ground. Maybe you point the foot. We're trying to aim the knee towards the ceiling. If it feels good, take a couple circles with your knee here. And switching directions. Inhale and exhale. We're going to pull our right foot all the way through to our hands. Maybe it needs a little help to get there. Inhale, exhale. We're going to lift up into our high lunge position, reaching the arms up towards the ceiling. From here, you're going to lower the hands down, and just like we did before, we're going to reach the fingertips to the ground, pulling the shoulder blades together, maybe finding that interlace of the fingers. Option here to ground the back foot into a warrior one type of position. It might give you a little more stability. Or you can keep the heel up. We're going to inhale here, exhale. Maybe you hinge the chest a little bit closer towards the right thigh. And again, if the late interlock of the fingers doesn't work, just keep actively reaching the hands toward the back of the room, trying to pull the shoulder blades down and back. And then go ahead and inhale, stand back up, reaching the arms to the sky, warrior one or high lunge. And exhale, hands find the ground, step back, knees drop down, lower down to the ground. Inhale, shoulders roll up and back, cobra pose. Exhale, push back to your down dog. Inhale, reach the left leg up to the sky. And exhale as you bend the left knee and open the hip, pointing at the foot, trying to pull the left heel towards the butt. Maybe finding some circles with the knee. Switching directions. Inhale. Exhale. Pull the left knee in between the hands. Maybe need some help to get there. And with an exhale, go ahead and stand up. High lunge. Hands pulling towards the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale. Hands go down, reaching for the floor. Maybe you find that interlace of the fingers. If you are interlacing your fingers, switch which pinky finger is on top. Option 2, ground the right foot into warrior one with right toes pointing out, left toes pointing forward. Inhale, pull the shoulders down and back. Exhale, hinge forward at the hips, staying very strong through the legs. Bringing the torso closer to the left thigh, humble warrior. Fists going up and back, or just reaching back, pulling the chest through. Inhale, stand back up, warrior one. Exhale, hands find the ground. Finding your vinyasa here, your flow. So either with knees up or down. Exhale, lower to the mat. Inhale, find your version of a back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Reconnecting to your breath here. And go ahead and lower the knees down And find a way to gracefully turn onto your back. And then prop yourself up on your elbows like you're laying at the beach, looking at the ocean. And then roll the shoulders back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and pull the chest through. This is a version of fish pose. Very nice back bend. Try to open at the throat, so not letting the head fall back, but letting your gaze come up to the ceiling, finding support by squeezing your shoulder blades together. And inhale, exhale, lion's breath, sticking out your tongue and letting out a big lion's roar. And then slowly letting your back down on the ground. We'll bend one knee and the other. Pull both knees into the chest. Maybe pull the knees from side to side. And then we'll let the feet down onto the mat. Knees bent, knees pointing up to the sky. Making our way towards our bridge pose. If you do have a block or a nice thick blanket or pillow, you can bring that near. Make sure your heels are pretty close into your seat, so maybe you can even touch your heels with your fingertips. And we'll start to push down through the feet and lift the spine one vertebrae at a time, coming to a bridge that's not too high, not too low. From here, maybe press down actively with the arms and the hands, or maybe you find that interlace of the fingers like we've been doing, and pull your shoulder blades together to open up the heart. So bringing this back bend up to the thoracic spine, making sure the chin stays slightly tucked. And try not to look at the computer screen while you're in bridge pose. So try not to turn it and twist the neck here. And then we're gonna make this a restorative bridge pose. So if you do have a block or something, a thick blanket or pillow to put underneath your sacrum, so not your lower back, but the very base of your spine, right above your butt, go ahead and put that block there, maybe on the lowest setting or the medium setting, and then just let the weight of your sacrum relax into that support. Maybe it feels good to stay here, or maybe you walk your legs out long. Even if you're just using this blanket here, that totally works. We're just getting a little of extra height underneath the hips. Very gentle, subtle back bend. And go ahead and see if you can lift the feet up towards the ceiling. If your hamstrings are tight, you can let the knees bend. You can hold behind your thighs, or you can just let your arms relax out to the side. And see if you can pump your ankles. So bringing the top of one foot towards your face as you point the other foot. Kind of feels like you're walking or something, walking on the ceiling. Making sure your toes are involved. What are your toes doing? What do they want to do? Do they want to squeeze or do they want to point? Just doing what feels natural. I'm going to invite for our Savasana, we find a legs up the wall pose. So if you are near a wall, and you can bring your mat towards that wall. If you don't have a wall accessible, then that's totally fine. We can just do a regular Savasana. Or if you have a chair, you could also put your legs up on a chair. Oh, and I hope this painting isn't gonna get in the way. We'll see. Basically, we're gonna try to scoot our butt as close to the wall as we can. And if you're having trouble doing that, you might wanna do like a side approach where you scoot your butt over towards the wall and then swing your legs up Seeing if you can minimize the space between your sacrum and the wall. Letting your arms out to the sides. Letting this reverse flow of gravity, it'll bring all of the lymphatic fluid, all of the waste products from our lower body that can be stagnant, especially if we spend a lot of time sitting. We're letting it all flow back up and get recycled, and really finding a nice reverse flow of blood here. It might feel good to open up the legs a little bit and just breathe. Coming back once more to your intention at the beginning of practice about how you can be more open. Is there anything you can change in your body or in your thought processes right now that would make you more open to change, to exploration, to trying something new that maybe isn't in your comfort zone? And staying in this restorative legs up the wall pose for as long as you can, or with grace and ease, walking your legs down, and slowly, mindfully finding a sitting position once more. Considering taking that intention of openness, expansiveness, and receptiveness out into the rest of your day, the rest of your week. Thank you so much for being here, for being open to this practice, to trying new things. Thank you. Namaste.